Have you ever noticed that the ones who speak the loudest are often the most unsettled inside? Always explaining, always proving, always reaching for recognition. True strength doesn't need noise. It moves quietly, steadily, without the need for attention. Life has a way of bringing the right lessons and the right people at the right time, but only if we give it space. Stillness teaches us what forcing never can. The moment you stop chasing, stop pleading, stop justifying yourself to those who were never listening, life begins to align in your favor. The right people remain. The wrong ones drift away. All that's required is patience, trust, and silence. Silence is not emptiness. It's awareness. It is restraint, discipline, and the willingness to listen deeply, not just to words, but to what lives beneath them, the energy in the room, the motives behind actions, the truth that noise tries to cover. Most people fear silence. They feel it because they feel unseen or believe that volume equals strength. But real strength is measured in calm presence, in the ability to observe before responding, to wait without rushing, to act with precision instead of impulse. Think of the leaders and visionaries you respect most. They rarely waste words. They don't need to impress with exaggerations or endless talk. When they choose to speak, their words carry weight, because those words are born of reflection, wisdom, and intention. In silence, you start hearing yourself more clearly. You notice the thoughts that matter, the signals you've ignored, the people who reveal their true character when you are no longer performing for their approval. Silence gives you the chance to see, without asking, who is loyal and who is not, who respects you and who never did. Winning in life is not about how much you say, it's about how deeply you understand. The quiet observer learns what others miss. They sense shifts before they happen, recognize motives before they are disguised, and prepare before they are caught off guard. Like a skilled player in chess, strength is not in announcing moves, but in studying the board, in patience, in timing. The ones who speak too much often reveal themselves too soon. The one who observes quietly, however, moves with clarity, and that clarity is what keeps them ahead. People respect silence more than words. Anyone can speak, make promises, or claim to be strong and wise. But real strength doesn't announce itself. It is felt. It shows in presence, in action, in the ability to sit quietly and still command respect. When you choose silence, you begin to notice more. You hear the shifts in someone's tone, the hesitation behind their words, the energy that speaks louder than what's being said. Silence sharpens awareness. It allows you to see clearly what others miss because they are too busy filling the air instead of listening to what it reveals. The quiet ones are not silent because they have nothing to say. They are silent because they understand the value of restraint. They know words can be a distraction, while silence can be a form of strength. When you listen more than you speak, you discover how much of life is simply noise. Arguments not worth your energy, explanations wasted on closed minds, apologies you never needed to make. Silence protects you. It helps you move with clarity, avoid unnecessary battles, and act with intention. It also filters people. Those who seek only your attention will drift away, while those who truly respect you remain. You no longer feel the urge to respond to every challenge, every doubt, or every insult, because real strength doesn't need to defend itself. It simply stands, steady and unshaken. Some of life's greatest victories come not from speaking, but from knowing when to remain quiet, from letting your actions and your discipline carry the message. from keeping your emotions steady when others try to provoke you. The moment you stop reacting, you take back your power. It's not easy to practice silence in a world that equates volume with importance, but genuine power is not measured in noise. It's measured in presence, in impact, in patience, in discipline. Think of it like trying to catch a butterfly. The more you reach, the further it flies. But the moment you become still, it rests upon you. Life is much the same. When you chase, things slip away. When you center yourself, what is meant for you finds its way. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is wisdom in waiting, strength in stillness, and clarity in presence. To master silence is to master yourself. And when you master yourself, life begins to align naturally around you. When you overextend yourself just to keep someone in your life, you send the message that their presence matters more than your own self-respect. And once people sense that, they often take it for granted. They test boundaries. They pull away because you've shown them they don't have to work to keep you. But when you stop chasing, when you no longer feel the need to initiate every conversation, to always be the one reaching out, to prove your worth, that's when things begin to shift. That's when people notice your absence. That's when they begin to wonder why you're no longer so available. And often, that's when they come toward you, not because of games, but because you finally recognized your own value enough to stop running after what was never running toward you. The same is true of success. Those who thrive aren't the ones begging for opportunities or forcing outcomes before their time. They are the ones who prepare, who remain patient, who work quietly, and trust the process. And because of that, the right doors open naturally. Desperation pushes people and opportunities away. Think of those who constantly seek approval, always proving, always performing. It drains others, and it costs them respect. But those who move with quiet confidence don't need to be liked to hold presence. They aren't desperate for validation. Their calm certainty speaks for itself, and that energy is magnetic. Chasing is rooted in fear. Fear of being alone, of missing out, of not being enough. But when you release that fear, everything changes. You carry yourself differently. You stop settling for crumbs because you know you deserve more. You stop begging for love because you understand real love never asks you to beg. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. You step into a place of abundance instead of lack. You realize what is meant for you will not require you to shrink yourself to keep it. The right people will value you without persuasion. The right opportunities will arrive when you're ready, not when you're desperate. This isn't about playing games. It isn't about ignoring people to make them want you more. It's about truly knowing your worth and trusting that what belongs to you will never require you to lose yourself to hold it. Often, the moment you let go, things begin to return. The job that once slipped away. The person who had moved on. The opportunity you thought had vanished. That isn't luck. It's alignment. Life has a way of meeting you halfway the moment you stop forcing outcomes. The more you try to control, the more resistance you create. But when you step back, refocus on yourself, and move with quiet patience, the right people, the right timing, and the right opportunities begin to find you. Real power is not in chasing. It's in remembering you never had to. There is strength in silence. Power in keeping your dreams and plans to yourself. Not everyone deserves to know your vision, your next step, or where you're headed. Some will doubt it, some will resist it, and some will simply look for ways to take advantage. Your future doesn't need an audience. It only needs your discipline, your trust, and your steady belief that what is truly yours will always find its way. When you share too much too soon, you open the door to energy that doesn't always support you. Not every smile is genuine. Some people may nod in agreement, but quietly hope you fall short. Your growth can remind others of what they haven't done, and instead of being inspired, they may plant doubt, question your abilities, or minimize your vision. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your plans. Some should only see the final product, not the process. Some should only hear about the results, not the effort behind them. When you reveal your vision too early, you give others the chance to interfere, discourage, or make you second-guess yourself. Many dreams fade not because they weren't possible, but because they were shared in the wrong space, with the wrong people. Silence protects your focus. It keeps your energy directed where it matters. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop seeking approval, you free yourself to work without distraction, without unnecessary opinions, without pressure. You simply act and let the results speak for themselves. The most successful people don't announce every step. They work quietly, patiently, often unnoticed, until the outcome is undeniable. By the time others realize what has been built, it's already too strong to be stopped. This is how you should move, with quiet confidence, steady discipline, and no need for constant validation. A lion doesn't roar every moment to prove it's a lion. Its power is understood in the way it moves. In the same way, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to explain your every move. Focus on the work. Stay consistent. Let your results carry the weight of your message. Too often, people waste energy trying to convince others of their seriousness, trying to win belief in their vision. But no one else needs to believe in your dream. No one else needs to understand your path. The only approval you need is your own, and the only proof required is in your actions. Not every great achievement began in silence. Every lasting creation was built away from the noise, away from unnecessary opinions, in spaces where belief and focus were stronger than doubt. And that is exactly where your best work will take root. The people who accomplish the most rarely waste energy explaining their plans. They invest that energy into building them. When you work in silence, you protect your focus. You don't drain yourself defending your decisions. You don't allow outside opinions to slow your momentum. You stay in control, free from judgment, free from doubt. And when the time comes to reveal what you've built, the results speak for themselves. Some people only ask about your plans to compare them with their own. The moment they sense you're ahead, they may try to discourage you or even imitate you. But when you keep your vision private, you give them nothing to measure, nothing to compete with, and nothing to interfere with. That's why some of the most powerful moves in history were made in silence and revealed only when they could no longer be stopped. Let people wonder. Let them assume. While they're guessing, you're growing, building, becoming. And when the time is right, when your work is ready, it won't be about explanations. It will be about results. And results need no defense. Patience is one of the greatest strengths a person can have, though it is often mistaken for weakness. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, patience feels undervalued. People rush, force, and chase, believing that if something doesn't happen quickly, it won't happen at all. But that's not how real growth works. The strongest people, the most fulfilled lives, are built on the understanding that lasting things take time. Without patience, we make desperate choices. We accept less than we deserve. We rush into the wrong relationships, force ourselves into jobs that don't align, or quit when results don't show up right away. Impatience leads to shortcuts, and shortcuts always cost more in the long run. But when you trust the process, you move differently. You wait for what truly fits you instead of grabbing at whatever is available out of fear. Think of the strongest structures in the world, the tallest buildings, the deepest foundations. None of them were built overnight. You cannot rush the base and expect the structure to endure. The same is true for life. A meaningful relationship doesn't form in a day. A successful business isn't built in a week. A resilient mindset isn't developed in a single moment. These things require patience, endurance, and quiet trust, even when you can't yet see results. Patience is not passive. It is discipline. It is showing up consistently, doing the work, even when there is no visible proof of progress. Because true success isn't created in sudden breakthroughs. It's the slow, steady accumulation of small, consistent efforts. Too many people plant seeds and then give up when growth isn't immediate. But just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. Roots develop in silence. Foundations settle out of sight. If you keep digging up what you planted, you'll never see the harvest. Patience is not waiting idly. It is trusting deeply. It is choosing faith over fear, discipline over desperation, and consistency over chaos. And in time, what you've built in silence will rise strong enough for the world to see. Patience isn't about waiting for things to magically fall into place. It's about trusting the process while continuing to work, continuing to believe, and continuing to build, even when there's no immediate reward. It's the discipline of moving forward without needing instant gratification. We live in a world that equates speed with success. Society teaches that if results don't come quickly, you're failing. That if you aren't making big moves, you're falling behind. But real strength comes from knowing that not everything happens on your timeline. Some things take longer because they are meant to last, stronger, steadier, more unshakable. The longer the wait, the deeper the roots. The stronger the foundation, the higher you can build. Patience is also a form of self-control. It's easy to grow frustrated when progress is slow. It's easy to compare yourself to others and feel behind. But when you're truly confident in your path, you don't need to rush. You don't need to chase. You don't need to force. You do your part, and you let the results unfold in their own time, in their own way. The people who rise the strongest aren't the ones who rush to the top. They're the ones who built carefully, stayed consistent, and trusted the process. They understood that shortcuts create setbacks, rushing leads to regret, and impatience often ends in settling for less. Anything worth having is worth the patience it requires. Some of the biggest mistakes come from moving too quickly, leaving too soon, reacting too fast, or settling too early. But when you practice patience, you give yourself space to see the full picture before acting. You avoid unnecessary stress because you trust that what is meant for you will come at the right time. Delays are not denial. Just because something isn't happening now doesn't mean it never will. Some doors stay closed until you're ready to walk through them. Some endings protect you from what wasn't meant for you. Some struggles last longer because they're shaping you for what comes next. If you give up too soon, if you walk away just because it's taking longer than expected, you miss the reward patience was preparing you for. The strongest people aren't the ones who force outcomes. They are the ones who work, who trust, and who wait. knowing that when the time is right, everything will come together exactly as it should. And silence is part of that strength. In silence, truth reveals itself. When you stop explaining yourself, stop defending your choices, stop justifying your path, you see people more clearly. Some will remain, some will distance themselves, some will grow uncomfortable, and some will try to pull you back to where they can control you. But if you hold your silence, if you resist the urge to prove or defend, the truth begins to emerge. Patience and silence together create clarity, and with clarity, you no longer need to rush, because you finally understand everything will arrive in its own time. Most people want to be heard. They want others to see their side, to understand their intentions, to respect their choices. But something changes when you stop explaining yourself. That's when the truth begins to surface. You see who was truly listening, who was only pretending, who quietly hoped you would stumble, and who never cared at all. When you over-explain, you hand people access to your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your vulnerabilities. And not everyone deserves that access. Some only listen so they can twist your words. Some want you to justify your boundaries so they can test them. Some want you to defend your growth so they can undermine it. But when you remain silent, you take away that power. Silence has a way of making people reveal themselves. When you stop chasing, you see who truly values you. When you stop explaining, you see who truly understands. When you stop reaching out, you see who still makes the effort. The ones who respect your silence, who continue to show up without needing constant reassurance, those are the ones who matter. The ones who disappear, grow angry, or try to guilt you into breaking your silence, they were only present for what they could take. Silence also reveals how much control others think they have over you. Some people only respect you as long as they feel they hold the upper hand. The moment you step back, the moment you stop giving them the reactions they rely on, they become unsettled. They may call you distant, cold, or accuse you of changing, but you haven't changed. You've simply stopped playing their game. Explaining yourself too much invites arguments. You justify your choices, and they try to convince you otherwise. You ask for space, and they try to make you feel guilty. You set boundaries, and they treat them like negotiations. But when you act without over-explaining, people are left with no room to manipulate. They either respect your decisions, or they don't. And their response tells you everything you need to know. Silence is a mirror. It reflects people back to themselves. Without your words covering the truth, their real intentions, feelings, and character stand in the open. And though the truth may be uncomfortable, it frees you. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you finally see who was truly with you and who never was. Some people will realize, too late, that they took you for granted. Some will recognize they never truly appreciated you, and some will show you the truth, that they never cared at all, only enjoyed the control they had over your energy. We live in a world full of noise, distractions, and constant reassurance. Many depend on endless conversations to avoid facing reality. But silence removes all of that. It strips away excuses, exposes intentions, and forces people to sit with their own thoughts and mistakes. That's why silence unsettles so many. It takes away the cover of words. No one can twist what you didn't say. No one can pretend to misunderstand you. They can no longer use your energy for their gain. They are left to reveal themselves exactly as they are. Silence also protects your peace. It gives you space to observe without reacting, to see the truth before emotions cloud your judgment. In stillness, you notice what the noise once hid, who respects your boundaries, and who only observes them when convenient, who checks in because they care, and who only reaches out when they need something, who values your presence, and who only valued your attention. Some people don't listen to understand. They listen to argue, to manipulate, to push their own agenda. But when you stop speaking, that game ends. With no words to hold on to, they reveal themselves, whether they were ever truly there for you, or only for the version of you they could control. Silence shows you everything. Who respects you without explanations, who supports you without needing persuasion, who values you without constant proof. Because real connections, whether friendship, family, or love, do not demand endless justification. They endure even in quiet. They don't disappear when you stop talking. The ones who grow angry when you stop explaining were only comfortable when they could steer your choices. The ones who leave when you go silent were never really with you at all. Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is not a lack of communication. Silence is strength. It is clarity. It is protection. It is how you see the truth that words often cover. The people who are meant for you will never demand constant explanations. They will understand you in the quiet. They will respect you without validation. They will remain even when you stop speaking. When the noise fades, the truth appears. And when you embrace silence, you see more clearly than ever before. Validation can be like a quiet addiction, subtle at first, but deeply consuming. It begins with a simple desire to be accepted, a need to be acknowledged, a craving to hear you're doing well. Before long, you may find yourself living for other people's reactions. You dress for approval. You speak to fit in. You pursue things that don't even matter to you, just because they appear impressive in someone else's eyes. And somewhere along the way, you lose yourself. The need for validation is one of life's greatest traps. It keeps people stuck, afraid to take risks, afraid to stand alone, afraid to live on their own terms. Because as long as you seek approval, you hand your power to others. You allow them to decide what is acceptable, what is worthy, what is right for you. And when you do that, you stop being in control of your own destiny. Real strength does not beg to be noticed. It does not wait for applause. It does not need permission before taking action. Those who are truly powerful carry themselves with quiet confidence. They do not need to announce their every step. They do not need to explain themselves. They do not wait for anyone to tell them they are enough. They simply move with purpose, and in doing so, they earn respect, first from themselves, and then from others. When you stop seeking validation, something shifts. You begin to move differently. You stop second-guessing your choices. You stop waiting for someone to approve your path. You stop depending on likes, applause, or attention to remind you of your worth, because you already know it. And when you know it, no one can take it away. The truth is, people respect those who don't beg for attention. They admire those who carry quiet, unshakable confidence. Because deep down, everyone recognizes that real power doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need approval to exist. It simply is. Look at the people most respected in the world. They are not the loudest. They are not the ones constantly seeking recognition. They are the ones who stay focused, who build in silence, who move with purpose. They act not to be seen, but because they believe in what they're doing. Seeking validation weakens you. It ties your sense of worth to other people's reactions, and when those reactions don't come, you begin to doubt yourself. You hesitate, you shrink, you question every move. But when your confidence comes from within, you become unshakable. Criticism cannot break you. Silence cannot discourage you. Rejection cannot define you. Because you no longer need external confirmation. You already know you are enough. There is nothing wrong with being appreciated. There is nothing wrong with enjoying recognition. But the moment you need it, the moment you depend on it, you give your freedom away. And that is the fastest way to lose yourself. Real power does not chase approval. It doesn't wait for applause. Real power simply lives, builds, and grows, regardless of who is watching. The world quietly respects those who don't beg for approval. It respects the ones who move with steady purpose, who don't need validation to know they're on the right path. Those so focused on their mission that they don't waste time seeking permission. That is real confidence. That is real strength. When you stop chasing validation, you move with a different kind of energy. You no longer wait for approval. You no longer over-explain. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You step fully into yourself without apology. And that is when people begin to respect you. Because confidence is magnetic. Self-assurance is powerful. And nothing is more unshakable than someone who knows their worth and refuses to let anyone define it for them. Think of the people who inspire you most. The ones who carry quiet strength. The ones who don't beg for attention but naturally command it. The ones who don't chase approval but earn respect through their actions. What makes them powerful is not that they are liked. It's that they keep moving, keep building, and keep growing, whether anyone is watching or not. Respect is not gained by asking for it. It's earned by showing up for yourself, by proving to yourself that you are capable, by refusing to shrink, to beg, or to water yourself down just to be accepted. The moment you stop seeking validation, everything changes. You make decisions with confidence. You stop chasing those who don't value you. You stop trying to fit into places never meant for you. And people notice, even if they don't always say it. Because real power doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need applause. It simply exists. Absence, too, has its own power. It teaches in ways words never could. When you are always available, always present, always giving, people grow blind to your value. They assume you will always be there. They take your kindness as a guarantee instead of a gift. But when your presence is no longer constant, when you step back, something shifts. That absence becomes a mirror. It forces them to see what they overlooked, what they took for granted, and what they may have lost. Absence reveals truth. It creates space for realization. It forces people to feel the weight of what once was. Your presence, your support, your care. And in that silence, in that distance, they begin to see clearly what they could not see when you were always near. In that silence, in that emptiness, people begin to understand, not through words, not through conversations, but through experience, what they had and what they lost. Presence is often invisible until it becomes absence. It's easy to overlook what is always there, easy to assume that what seems constant will remain constant. But when it's gone, when it's no longer readily available, the truth becomes undeniable. Absence reveals priorities. If someone truly values you, they will feel your absence. They will reflect on their actions, recognize their mistakes, and step forward to make an effort. But if someone only used you, if they saw you merely as an option, your absence will mean nothing. And in that clarity, you find your answer. Some people only understand your worth when they are forced to live without it. They never considered the support you gave, the energy you invested, the ways you made things easier, until it was gone. You cannot force someone to see your value. You cannot make someone appreciate you by constantly reminding them. You cannot beg respect or chase recognition. The more you try, the more they resist. The more you give without acknowledgement, the more they take for granted. But when you step back, when you stop proving yourself, when you let silence speak for you, they are left only with their own thoughts. And those thoughts will either make them recognize your worth or reveal that they never truly valued you at all. Sometimes the hardest lesson comes through loss. Words cannot convey it, arguments cannot teach it. Only the emptiness left behind can. That space forces people to confront what they ignored, to see what they took for granted, to face the truth of your absence. And if they fail to see it, then that is your answer. Absence doesn't just reveal your worth to others, it exposes their true feelings. If they move on without a second thought, if they fail to notice you're gone, that is proof enough. You were never truly valued. And as difficult as that truth may be, it is liberating. Because once you know who truly values you, you can stop giving energy to those who never did. You don't have to prove your worth. It is not your responsibility to convince someone of your value. It is not your job to beg for appreciation. If someone cannot recognize what you bring to the table while you are present, let absence teach them. Either they will realize what they lost and make an effort, or they will reveal that they never truly cared. Either way, you gain clarity. Absence is a powerful filter. It removes those who are only there out of convenience. It separates the people who genuinely care from those who only enjoyed the benefits of your presence. It exposes intentions without you having to say a word. If someone does not notice your absence, if they do not fight for you or miss you, then your presence never truly mattered to them. And if that is the case, why waste your energy? Why pour yourself into someone who would not even notice if you left? When you step back, when you go silent, when you let absence do the work, people reveal their true colors. If they care, they will notice. If they love you, they will reach out. If they value you, they will not let you slip away. And if they do nothing, if they let you go without hesitation, that is all the proof you need. Absence is not about games or manipulation. It is about clarity. It is about protecting your energy, valuing yourself enough not to beg for attention, and letting people show you where they truly stand. Some people only realize your worth when they are forced to live without you. And when that moment comes, they will either make the effort to bring you back, or they will let you go. Either way, you win, because you deserve to be in spaces where you are valued, not just tolerated. Absence has a way of making that truth crystal clear. Trust the timing of your life. In a world obsessed with speed and instant result, we are constantly rushing, pushing ourselves to achieve, to get ahead, to move faster. But nature teaches us something different. Growth takes time. Life unfolds in its own rhythm. The seasons change at their own pace. Trees grow when they are ready. Rivers flow at their natural speed. Your life will unfold exactly when it is meant to. The sun rises and sets without being rushed. Flowers bloom when the time is right, not when we demand it. Rain falls according to its own schedule, yet everything happens in perfect order. The earth moves, grows, and evolves at its own pace, and nothing is ever missed. We are part of that same rhythm. Let go of the need to control. Too often we panic when the things don't happen quickly. We compare ourselves to others and feel behind. We worry about age, career, relationships, and accomplishments. But life does not follow our clock. It moves on its own schedule. And the more we try to rush it, the more we miss. The beauty of the journey is that growth cannot be rushed. Trusting the timing of your life means letting go of control. It means surrendering to the natural flow of things, knowing that everything will unfold exactly when it's meant to. Consider a tree. It begins as a tiny seed, buried in the soil, where no one can see its progress. You cannot watch it sprout overnight. A tree does not suddenly grow leaves or bear fruit. It takes time to develop roots, to build a strong foundation. It does not rush. It does not force its growth. It simply trusts the process, step by step. Over time, it grows tall, strong, and exactly as it was meant to be. The tree does not compare itself to others. It does not wish it were growing faster. It simply grows. And in the end, it stands tall and proud because it trusted the timing of its life. Your journey is the same. You are constantly evolving, learning, and becoming. But the problem arises when we measure our growth against someone else's timeline. When we compare ourselves to friends, family, or colleagues, we wonder why we aren't where they are. But life is not a race. Your path is yours alone. And like nature, your growth will happen in its own perfect timing. Be patient. Keep going. Trust the process. Everything you are working for will come when the time is right. The key is to trust that when the time is right, everything will align perfectly. The tree does not resist the changing seasons. It does not panic when winter arrives, fearing it will never bloom again. It rests, knowing that spring will return in due time. In the same way, we must trust that delays, setbacks, and unexpected turns are not failures, but necessary parts of our growth. Even in moments when it feels like nothing is happening, transformation is taking place beneath the surface, just like a tree's roots preparing to break through the ground. Stop comparing your path to anyone else's. What is meant for you will come at the right time. Your life is unfolding exactly as it should. Everything you are working toward, everything you're hoping for, is already on its way. Trust the process. Trust the timing of your life. There is no set schedule for success. Dreams have no expiration date. There is no perfect age to start a business, no perfect time to fall in love, and no deadline for finding your purpose. Life isn't a race, and it doesn't follow a strict formula. Growth often happens quietly, where you cannot see it. Just because you do not notice the changes does not mean they aren't happening. Think of a seed planted in the ground. For months, it seems as if nothing is moving. You water it, care for it, and still see no progress. You might wonder if it will ever grow, but beneath the surface, it is preparing, its roots strengthening, building a foundation. And then, one day, a tiny sprout emerges. The growth was happening all along, even when it looked like nothing was changing. Too often, we want the results without the waiting. We want success without the process. We want the rewards, but not the struggle. But true success isn't only about the final outcome. It is about the journey. It is about trusting the process, embracing the growth that is invisible, and remaining patient while life unfolds exactly as it should. Life isn't just about reaching the destination. It's about who you become along the way. It's about the lessons you learn, the strength you build, the resilience you develop, and the patience you cultivate. The process shapes you, molds you, and prepares you for what lies ahead. Without it, without the time it takes, you wouldn't be ready for the success that awaits. There is power in patience. There is strength in trusting the timing of your life. It is not a weakness to wait. It is not a failure to be exactly where you are right now, growing and evolving at your own pace, in your own way. Everything around us is built on the idea that faster is better. But the truth is, the most meaningful things take time. The most valuable things, the ones that truly matter, are built slowly, with care and intention. A masterpiece is not created overnight. A strong, lasting relationship is not built in a day. A fulfilling career, a deep sense of purpose, these things take years of persistence, effort, and patience. And in the end, the things that take time are always the most rewarding. When you trust the timing of your life, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop worrying about where you should be, what you should have, who you should be with, or what you should be doing. You stop measuring your progress by someone else's timeline. Instead, you focus on your own path, your own growth, your own progress. You trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You trust that you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. And with each passing day, you move closer to where you are meant to be. The timing of your life is perfect. It may not always make sense in the moment, but one day, when you look back, you will see how everything aligned, every challenge, every setback, every failure, every success. They all played a role in shaping who you are today and who you will become tomorrow. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, trust that life is moving behind the scenes. Life has its own rhythm. When you trust it, you receive exactly what is meant for you. Nature teaches us that timing is everything. It reminds us that we don't have to rush, we don't have to force things, and we don't have to be in control at all times. Even if it feels slow, life is always moving forward. Trust the journey. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Trust that what is meant for you will come at the right time. And until then, breathe, relax, and watch life unfold, just as it was always meant to.